All right, guys. Good day. Whatever time of the day you're watching this, I hope you're having like a lovely time. So, like I said, this is the follow-up video to the previous one concerning the principles of design. So, um, if you look at the design that I have right now, it's just an example design that I want to use to try and explain or explain the applications of some of the principles that we talked about. All right, so you can see the design is very minimal, very smart, very beautiful. Now, let me turn off the guides here so you can see what it looks like without the guides. So let me quickly come here and turn off the canvas guides. As you can see, as simple as this design is, this is how modern designs are done these days. So I'm going to show you how I set up everything. Um, this I'm going to show you how to like import the clock, import anything you need to do. So I'm going to try and make this video as brief, as quick as possible. I'm just going to try and explain the principles for you. So let's just get right to it. Let's start by actually creating a new file format. Let's go here. Let's create something. And you might not be able to see this. Let me lock this in. This is the create new button in Photoshop, which is our app of choice for this design. These are my presets for this design. You can copy if you want to. You might not have a laptop. If you don't, it's completely fine. Just watch how I do this and watch how the principles of design are applied. So these are the presets, the settings I'm going with. So let's start. So this is the blank canvas. What you want to do first is duplicate this background. So you can do this one of two ways. You can just right click, then you can duplicate layer here. You can name it as background copy, that's fine. Click it, and now we have the duplicate. We always try and duplicate in Photoshop to avoid chaotic mistakes, because there are some things that you do, although there's an undo button, sometimes you might have gotten far and you realize, I shouldn't have done it like this. And you've already maybe saved on the layer and you now have to start over again. So it's always a good practice to make duplicates. So we've duplicated this. Now what we want to do is fill this with a color. So what we just need to do simply is let's copy the color from this design. Since we are doing this one, let's just go over here. I want to copy this color code. All right, so just click Control C, no big deal, and to come over here. Now, to actually fill this canvas, to fill this, this canvas with color, you come over here, you go to solid color, and then you can see I can just click Control V, and I have pasted the color of that design over here. Now, there's something we want to do. Let us, like if you watch, the very first principle that I am trying to use here in this design is what we call, we talked about it in the previous video, all right, is what we call unity. Unity and proportion. So that's why you see initially you saw guides. I created all these guides. I'm going to show you how to do it. It's important so that you can, so that your design looks arranged, all right? Now, sometimes to apply guides or to apply proportions, you need to first have something that is the central focus, all right, for a design. So all of that things will be arranged in relation to that thing. So for us, it's this clock PNG. It's downloadable. You can just Google clock and you can use any image you want. We're using this clock for this example. Let's put the clock here. It's too big. So in Photoshop, you press Ctrl T, which is the free transform tool. to reduce the size. Let's just reduce the size. Now, note it might not be like exactly that one because I don't want to go over the stress of copying the sizes and all that. Or let us simply take it. Let us simply take this one, right, from here. Let's take this. Let's make a copy. So what I did there was just Control C and beg your pardon. Sorry about that. So what I simply did there was Control C and Control V is the same thing. You copy and you paste. The same way you can copy and paste in other apps. Okay, so now we've copied this. Now we're going to do everything in relation to this clock. But first, let's make it look like the clock is sitting down. You want to create this shadow. This shadow doesn't come with the clock. So I'm going to show you how to do that. That's just like an extra tip. All right, so first let's get the clock. Okay, I think this is where we should apply our first guide because it's always important that you leave spaces. Spaces are important. So let's keep our first guide here so we know the clock should not get past this point. Now, what we want to do is create a new layer here. And in that new layer, we're going to use our brush. You can either go to brush here or you can press B for the brush tool. Now, after we've selected this, we can simply come over here and pick a color. Now we can pick this yellow and pick like a darker shade of this yellow, all right, instead of like pure black. So that does not look good. So let's go with our black Pico. All right, so this is fine. So let's make this, okay, that's fine. Now, what we want to do is let us shape this brush now to look like a flat, to look like a shadow, all right? So Control T, you can also transform brushes. So Control T. Now, what we want to do is right click, go to warp, and let's distort the hell out of this shadow. So you can drag it like this, drag this. I'm just trying to give it that extended look, right? Make it look like it's a shadow that belongs to the clock. Let me just do this and okay, I'm fine with that. I don't want to overdo it because I have a tendency to spend too much time on a design. So let's just keep it like this. Now, if you see the shadow is way too dark, so let's reduce the opacity. You come over here to reduce the opacity. I'm trying to make this as easy as possible for you, especially if you have not used Photoshop before. So I'm trying to make it simple. Come over here. This is where you select the opacity and you just reduce it to the level that looks okay. So that's fine for us. So now what we want to do is we want to create other guides. Now the very first guide we want to create is this. We want to make sure that we have a guide at the end of this image. I'll tell you why in a second. Then we want to make sure we have a guide at the beginning of this image. Yes. Then we want to make a guide here because it's important that your design has spaces both at the top and at the bottom. So we need to create a guide here to show that anything we're doing should not go above this place. So let's make another guide here. And this will be for the heading. These are the guides that we're going to use to apply a hierarchy in a second. So this is going to be for the heading. It's going to be for the subheading. It looks too big. It should be smaller than the main heading. The main heading should be bigger. Okay, now let's make a last guide. All right, which will just show us. Basically, it's good to have lots of these guides on the screen. It helps you. Photoshop has this feature that makes your design elements to like just lock into place when they are close to a guide. So it actually helps when you are designing and all that. Now, time is money. Spend your time wisely. What else? So see this, let's go and create this very last guide here because like I said, it's important to have spaces all around your design. All right, so let's go and create that last guide. Now, this line is where your main text is going to stop. This one is where your subtext will stop. Let's make where the smallest text is going to stop or start from rather. So let's keep this one and I hope you can see, all you have to do to create a guide is come over here, click it and drag it to anywhere you want on the screen. So this is how to do it professionally. It makes your entire work look very neat, very professional. These are the small things that you know that helps you to charge high because you know what you're doing. You're not a kid designer. Okay, so let's just keep that there. Now let's assume we have all our guides in place. So what we want to do first is lock this and this, or first we could, with this layer selected, with the clock set layer selected, you can select let me change the name of this one to shadow. And this one to clock. You can change the name by double clicking. So let's say you have the clock layer selected. What you want to do is go to the shadow, holding control, click it too, select the two. Now what you want to do is use this shortcut, Control G, right? And it turns it into a group. So let's call the entire group clock group. All right, so that is done. Now let us now, you've seen how we can apply proportion and unity, all right, in a design. So let's go ahead and apply the actual first principle on our list, which is contrast. Now, applying contrast would mean we need to make the text a different color from what we are seeing, all right, from the background color, which is blue, because it wouldn't make sense to make the text blue, and I'll show you in a minute. So all we have to do now is let's select this. All I did was, you can just come here, click text. This is where you select the type. So we're going for source sans variable because it is variable and it has different sizes, which will make applying hierarchy a lot easier. So let's select the bold. Let's come here. Let's type something. So let's write time is money. So let us change the color of this to white because white is nice. Now, after doing that, we can just press V. It changes to the move tool on Photoshop. I would make a list of Photoshop shortcuts available just so that you can have an idea of how we are doing all this. So now that we've done that, you can see the text doesn't conform to our order. It's out of order and it needs to be punished. So let's pressing the Control T, which is the free transform. Let's like change the size. Right, let's make it a little smaller. Okay, so let's. Now I'm going to show you how to align this. You can use the directional buttons on your keyboard and move if necessary. But you can see now, like everything is in place. So all we need to do is actually reduce this. So you can just reduce this way. Okay, this is fine. Reducing it this way. Let me click OK. So as you can see, the time is money is now on the line, just as we want it to be, right? And it conforms to all our lines, all our guides here. So let's move on to the next one. Let's create emphasis. So I hope you can see that the very first text here is white, because let me show you an example. If we were to make that white to be, let's say, blue, let's copy this. Okay, let's make this white blue like this. You see, you cannot see it. That's one of the importance of contrast, which is to help you to see a particular text, right? So we will not leave it at blue. God forbid, we leave it at white. So that's fine. Next, we're going to create emphasis. And how do we do that? Let me simply import this. Now, what we did here is simply just used shapes, all right, to set as like the background for the spend yours. So let's do that quickly. All right, let's do that quickly as we can. Now, let's come over here, selecting the shape tool. The square is already selected. The fill should be yellow or any color you want. And with that, you can easily just create a box. It's a creative box. So here, we're going to try and differentiate, we're going to try and make this design a little bit different from the other ones. And I'll show you how to do that now. So we have made our box, which means we might have to adjust this text a little higher, or we adjust our guides. So either way, you can make as much adjustments as you need to on a design, so that it doesn't conflict with each other. So let's just simply let's arrange this. Okay. All right. So it's this selected now. Let's meet the line. Now let's make this line conform here. Okay, that's beautiful. Now I'll take this below. Right. Well, this last line really isn't important. I'll show you what I mean in a second, but let's assume now, okay, we've created this yellow shape. What we need to do is go back to the text. And now, instead of bold, we're going to make it regular or semi-bold, depending on what you want to do. Let's make it semi-bold for this example. Let's make it semi-bold for this example. And we're going to make the text blue. So let's write spend it wisely. And do not worry that you cannot see it. We'll fix all that right now. So I've spent it wisely here. Okay, so let's make this a little bit bigger, just for the sake of this tutorial. Let's just reduce the size a little. And be wisely. So let's just, it's an example, so forgive me, I had a lot more time to do the very first one, but in this example, you can see we've created emphasis with the yellow box, and we still made the spend it wisely to look good, you know, in its own right. So normally when you are doing yours, you can spend more time and do a lot of experimentation and things that you want to do to make it final as it appeals to you. Like I said, as a designer, you need your own sense of beauty and aesthetics. So we've applied emphasis with this. We've also applied contrast with this. We've also applied hierarchy, because you can see time is money is bigger, spending wisely smaller. Now let's go to our text tool here at this place, and let's make the last text. So sorry, let's make the last text now. So let's just make a long text box. Let's make the text white, and let's reduce the text to like 11. Then we're going to paragraph and go to characters. Now it's like Microsoft Word here. So what you just want to do is want to reduce the space within the paragraph. So you can see this is the option. It's way too much, it's 48. So let's do it 9, and you can see 9 is fine for me. So I'll click it. Now you can put any text you want there, but since I don't have anything in mind now, I'll just leave it with the automatically generated random text that Photoshop gives you. And all you want to do is just adjust this into place. And as you can see, everything has conformed. This design is looking beautiful. What's left now is just to apply maybe another text for just for the sake of it, you know, for contrast too. But let me point out some things that we've done here. If you see let me turn off the guide so you can observe. There's a whole lot of space here and here. What do we call that? Yes, if you can remember, we call it white space. White space it's supposed to be in your design. It's nothingness. So when someone looks at this design, they do not want to just look at the white space. They want to see what's going on. So their eyes will be directed here. And if you look, we have like a slanting motion of this design. It's coming down, you know, it's descending. So you can see we've been able to use hierarchy to actually create a viewing experience. So now the viewer knows that, okay, I need to read from top to bottom. All right, so let's just look at some other principles of designs that we've been able to achieve here. So like we said, the time is money is high, it's contrast. compared to the background, its hierarchy compared to the Spend It Wisely, because the Spend It Wisely is smaller and this text is smaller than this text over here. So we've been able to achieve hierarchy. We've been able to achieve rhythm, because you can see the colors of this one and this one are the same. So now you have this rhythm that it's white to blue to yellow to white again. So there's like a rhythm going on there. Been able to establish white space that like you can see here and here. And we've been able to exercise or apply movement. As you can see, there's movement from up to down in this design. Now we're going to we've been able to apply unity also, like with the guides. You can see how everything is well arranged. So all we need to do now is to apply variety. And we already have variety in terms of color. As you can see, there's yellow here also. So we have yellow, white, and blue. It is important to keep your color scheme as simple as you can. So we already have that here. So all that's left is a little variety. So to apply more variety text-wise, because you have variety with this text, this one being bold, this one being regular, and this one being light. Wait, I'm coming. Let me make this light. All right. So you might think it's not as nice as it was before, but actually it is. And it makes it a lot more sense now to the viewer when they are looking at this. They know, okay, this is big, this is less big, and this is okay. My instincts are telling me to leave it at regular where it was. So that's what we will do. But we've still been able to create that movement, all right? Viewing with their eyes, we've been able to create that movement. So what we want to do now is create variety with typeface, like the type of text, all right? So all we want to, let's just come here now and let's turn on, you come to view, show, and canvas guides. To turn on our guides back now, all we just want to do is add text here. So let's come over here to type tool and let us select another typeface. So you can do that by coming here, clicking it down, and I'm just going to select Acre because I love this text so much. For the sake of this tutorial, let's just leave it as this. Let's just put contact us now on 0810569946. Now, some of you may be wondering, where did that number come from? It's actually my number, all right? So you don't have to be concerned about anything. So I'm just going to try and align it to our guides here. Okay. Okay, it's still variable sounds. Can you imagine? I did not know that. It hasn't changed. So let's change this to Acre. That's fine. That's perfect. All right. So we've been able to do that. Now, all that's left is for us to turn off this guide so you can see what you and I have been able to create together. So let's go to view, show, and turn on canvas guides, and wow. So our design is complete. We've applied most of the design principles like that I taught you in the previous video. And really, I'm proud of you guys, and I'm proud of myself also. So yeah, this is the video. Hope you learned a lot. Hope I delivered value, and really try and, like I say, always try and get professional help. If you need to learn, if you need to grow, it's always important to get professional help. So you can see this is the old one and this is a new one. And I think I like the one that you and I did together better. really. So thank you for staying tuned. Thank you for watching. And we continue with the tutorial accordingly.